Good evening, and welcome to the first virtual tableside chat in a roundtable fashion for James Webb, candidate for Trustee Area 4, William S. Hart Union High School District School Board. I'm excited to be with you this evening and talk about and hear from you as family members in the Santa Clarita Valley. I hope that you will pose some questions that I will be able to answer and give you some guidance about my vision and my thoughts for how we can work together with families and have a seat at the table at the school board to join all others in the collective decision making for students. To begin, we can't pretend that things have not changed for our families in the Hart District. Santa Clarita is no longer a tucked away community that is immune to the changing tide of social issues, economics, and health concerns that become the kitchen table talk with our families of Trustee Area 4 and that of the Hart District. Our school board needs to make certain that we welcome and value our diverse families' needs and expectations for the Hart School District because these are the stakeholders whom we serve. Our families now encompass a myriad of combinations, such as one-parent families, extended families, foster families, same-sex families, and sometimes friends who serve as family members. As a parent of a junior high and elementary children, I understand how important families are in the education of students. To accomplish the task of involving families, I will review demographics in all trustee areas of the Hart District to encourage programs and dialogue between the district and the family members. I plan to undertake the monumental task of brainstorming resources that could be outside of the district to provide means to assist families, specifically those who foster children, have children with exceptional needs, and those who may be affected by outside forces beyond their control, such as poverty and homelessness, to maintain equity for all students. As statistics have indicated, children learn best when they are safe and secure. To accomplish this idea, I will ensure that families are safe and secure with their children at schools, with the staff members, resources, and supports that work together to educate all students with equal access to rigorous standards. What I would like to do now is I would like to invite those of you who have joined to please pose some questions specifically about what I can do to help families in the Santa Clarita Valley feel that they have a place within the school district. I know that there are a lot of things on people's minds, especially as we begin a very interesting chapter in that of the Hart District tomorrow. I spent today helping my son get ready for all of his courses at his junior high school. Many things that I was learning myself, but also seeing the excitement that he had as he worked to get registered in Google Classroom and get his resources together to get ready for his first day of class. My younger son is beginning elementary school on Wednesday, and again, I look forward to what we can do to see that he has a transition to back to learning. Because as we know, only the school buildings are closed. Learning has not stopped. Learning is continuing. So now, please, if you have any questions, I would like for you to post them in the chat, and I will be happy to answer them for you. I noticed that we have a number of people with us this evening, and so again, please post those questions in the chat. So we have a question. What can be done to make sure teachers have a voice? Well, that's a very, very good question. And as a former teacher of the Hart District and also a teacher leader with the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, I think that it's important that we invite teachers to be a part of the conversations that we have at the Hart District. I think all too many times teachers wait until there's an actual board meeting in order to feel that they have a voice, but it needs to be far beyond that. I think important for school board members is to visit classrooms, to be in the classrooms and see exactly what resources are being utilized or possibly not being afforded to teachers in the Hart District so that they can have access to what it is that they need to be successful. Of course, in this era of distance learning and virtual online synchronous lessons, that may be a bit challenging, but it is still very much feasible for school board members to be in the classrooms and watching teachers and what they need. I think the other thing that we need to do is we need to ensure that the district and the teachers union work together in a partnership and not in an adversarial role to ensure, again, that students whom they are working with and serving, and also the families that they are working with, all feel that we are on the same page and that we're all working together to help ensure student success. So I really welcome that question and I thank you for posing that. What other questions do we have? We have another one. James, can you tell us what your priorities will be as a board member? Yes. I have a definite vision of empowering equity for all students, staff members, and families within the community of the Hart District. One of my first priorities is to really look at how do we oversee the equitable distribution of resources so that all of our schools in the Hart District have what they need in order to be successful and offer high quality educational programs for students. In addition, another priority that I have is to reevaluate current curriculum, to look to see that we are including all students in the studies at the levels of English, history, math, science, electives, and the arts. I think that it is very important that students read, study, and value different lessons of people whom are similar to them. I think we need to really look at how do we incorporate the voices of multicultural authors and diverse perspectives as we build the curriculums for our students. The California State Framework is very clear. It does not mandate certain works be taught or certain ideas that are attached to authors' names be studied. Instead, it's a very broad understanding of the knowledge, skills, and abilities that students must have in order to be successful once they have moved on past high school. I think that we need to make sure that we incorporate all of that into the work that we do to provide quality programs. And another priority that I have that I would like to see if I am elected and ultimately putting in place in the first 100 days, if I were to be a board member on the Hart District, is to expand our wellness centers and include resources, not just for our students, but for our teachers, for our staff, and for our families. One of the things that is of particular interest at this time is that teachers do have needs that require a social and emotional perspective and embracing in order to help them be successful with their students. The rate of post-traumatic stress disorder among teachers is very high right now, and as we move into new ways of learning and ways of providing information to students, we need to make sure that we are taking care of our teachers. We need to make sure we're taking care of our staff members, our custodians, our bus drivers, our cafeteria workers, our office staff, because they need support just like everyone else who are stakeholders in the Hart District. And so that's what I would identify as my three most important priorities in running and what I would like to see accomplished as we are moving forward in that first set of 100 days if I were to be elected to the school board. I have another question. What sort of fiscal responsibility does the board have to the public? Well, according to the California Ed Code, school board must ensure that the district remains solvent. That is number one. It is in law, and it is, of course, the most important role of a school board. But one of the other things that's very important with a school board is ensuring that fiscal responsibility does not supersede the needs of the district and that of the teachers and the students. It is important that we monitor how expenditures are made and how they are budgeted to include ways that we can help all students. When I was induction director for the Hart School District, I oversaw a budget of approximately $1 million. I monitored that budget consistently, revised it as necessary, and ensured that every penny that I was charged with by the state was spent appropriately. As such, we had one of the highest performing induction programs and PAR programs that was recognized across the state of California. We often were invited to speak at different locations and different universities. And so it was with the resources that we had, and we made sure that every aspect of our program was well funded and well attended to. So I feel that while we want to make sure that we don't certainly outspend what we have in terms of our means, we have to make sure that everything is distributed equitably and that we also make certain that we keep students first. They are our first priority. They are why we are in this business. And so as educators and as family members, we need to understand that concept and ensure that money is spent for the students. What are your ideas about supporting students in foster care? This is a question that is very near to my heart. Both of my children have been adopted and were done so through Los Angeles Department of Children and Family Services. We were foster parents before we became adoptive parents. And I think the needs of foster children is so important. We have approximately 5 to 10% of our student population currently in foster care, many of them in Trustee Area 4. And it's very important that we understand the unique needs that these students have. I have begun exploring ways that we can bring programs to the families of the Hart District that do foster children. And I found a program that is in Santa Barbara County in which it brings together students at various high schools, and they work to create friendships with the students who are indeed in foster care. But it also goes beyond that. It helps families who have young foster children to give them time where they can maybe have a night out or maybe have some time alone together. And so it's supervised daycare to help understand what the needs of foster families are. Because to invite a child into your home and to provide care, comfort, and support of that child is so important and so developmentally appropriate, and in terms of the social needs of the child, has to be done with care and with support. So what I would like to do is to really take a look at how many foster children we do have and find ways that we can expand those wellness centers that I spoke about earlier to really include those of the foster children and provide not only the children with support, but also with the families. What do I love about the Hart District? Well, I started my career in the Hart District in the year 2000. And what I loved about the Hart District was I always felt that anything that I wanted to do was possible. I had excellent principals and administrators who supported me with so many different ideas that I could accomplish anything that I wanted to. I also really enjoyed the very tight bonds that there were between district administration and the teachers. I thought that it was very unique that we had a district in which teachers, and specifically the teachers union and district administration, could come together and talk and really come up with great ideas to help students and help teachers. One of those specific initiatives was the Peer Assistance and Review Program that was founded in the year 2000, the year I started in the Hart District. And that was truly a partnership between the president of our union at the time and our assistant superintendent of personnel. And they came together and they put a high quality program that provided support for the most vulnerable of our teachers, which were new teachers who never really had a voice and never really had a chance to learn and grow by having a mentor, but then also provide support to our veteran teachers who needed some additional guidance and some additional care to help them because maybe they had lost their way a little bit and they just needed to have some support from a consulting teacher that could assist them. And I think the other thing that I really love about the Hart District is that it is truly a network of people who come together to educate children. When we arrived at my son's junior high school to pick up his supplies and they mentioned who we were, it was so exciting to hear across all the intercoms the welcome and the excitement and the joy that we had pulled up to pick up our son's books. So those are the things that I love about the district and the reason that I would like to serve in the capacity of school board member, because I do love this community and this school district so much. Another question, if elected as a board member, how would you plan on supporting student equity throughout the district? I think the best thing that we need to do is we need to get into the classrooms of our students. Now, certainly because school buildings are closed, this idea of getting into classrooms may be through Zoom or maybe through Google Classroom or other ways that we can observe. But I think it's very important that we get into those classrooms and we see firsthand as a school board member what resources are available to the teachers to support students. Because as we know, teachers need resources, supplies, and what they have to have in order to help students with their success. We can't simply say, go online and not give a teacher a webcam or a speaker or a microphone that is clear and understandable to the students whom he or she is working with. We also have to ensure that if we are thinking about technology and the importance that it has in education, we really need to think about strengthening our technological infrastructure to make sure that programs that are provided to our students will indeed function and work for them and for the teachers. So I think that it's important for school board members to get out into the schools, not just the ones in their trustee area, but also all schools to see what is out there and what teachers are working with. When I go in, if I am elected, to classrooms, I want teachers to know that it is through a partnership. I am there to observe and see the great things that are going on because I have seen it. There are wonderful lessons being taught and interactions going on, and it is there to see everything that is happening. And the last thing that I would say about equity throughout the district is to really look at expenditures by site, looking at the ways that the funds garnered by the LCAP and Title I funding are secured and are being spent for what it is that they are intended. If a school indeed is a Title I school, how are those funds being used to support the programs that Title I is set to cover? Also, in looking at the LCAP, how are we targeting our 8 priority areas in order to make sure that the students have the resources they need and the teachers have the resources they need to support those students? Excellent question. I have another question. Staff have not had a pay raise in nearly a decade. At the last board meeting, the board members said they need to take care of their resources. Do you have plans on how you would take care of the teachers and staff who are the resources of our district? Again, another great question. When I first started in the Hart District, our district was the envy of the California Teachers Association in the salary schedule that we once had in order to attract and retain quality teachers. However, as you indicated, we've not seen an increase in pay in over a decade, and that just is not acceptable. One of the things that I think that we need to do is we need to really examine our pay structure, also in terms of our benefits as well, to ensure that we are maintaining fiscal responsibility, but yet we are giving the teachers what they need in order to take care of themselves and to take care of their families. We are currently at the beginning of a teacher shortage, and it is only going to get worse. And unless we attract new teachers and retain the quality instructors that we have in our district, we are not going to be able to keep up. I think that what we really need to do is we need to do a close examination of the budget and examine where it is that we can increase the pay for teachers, and also look at the resources that we offer in terms of medical benefits, dental benefits, vision benefits, to ensure that they are of high quality and that they are of equitable distribution. My husband and I are on my husband's insurance now that I work at the state. So we do pay quite a bit of money in order to insure both ourselves and our children. And if there is a way that we could really work to see that that is brought down, it is only going to help the morale and the perspective of teachers in order to be able to do their job and do it effectively. Another question: how can we support and nurture the mental health of our students? One of the things that really struck me this evening as we listened to my son's elementary teacher is the inclusion of social emotional learning into the curriculum every day. I think we need to bring that to the secondary level. It shouldn't just exist at the elementary level. We need to remember that we do have at a secondary level an importance on curriculum with regard to content area learning, but we really need to see how can we make sure that our students' well-being is being maintained. One of the things that I would like to do is expand the wellness centers to include more social emotional supports for students. I think it's important that we also expand programs such as Capturing Kids' Hearts, and also other ways that we can make sure that students' support in their mental health are being addressed and also monitored. We need to understand that we as teachers are all counselors. We have a wonderful counseling staff that we want to work with, but we also need to think about how can we empower teachers to have that same sense of understanding when it comes to well-being and taking care of our children. And so what I would really like to do is find ways that we can infuse that social emotional learning into our curriculums. As I've always worked with new teachers, I've always asked them to think about what it is about what made a teacher their favorite. It wasn't the books they read. It wasn't necessarily the curriculum that they studied. It was the way the teacher made them feel. And that's what we have to remember. Any of us have knowledge, skills, and abilities that are very easy to come by, but when we feel safe, when we feel that we're in a room where we are valued and we are respected, that's when we're going to learn. What's something that you can take away from your former students to apply to your position on the school board? I think one of the things that's so important is when I think about my students, the excitement and the passion that they had when they came into school. It wasn't necessarily the curriculum that I was teaching or the course upon which I was charged to work with them. It was instead their passion that they brought with me, brought into the classroom, excuse me. Sometimes it was about things that were completely not on topic, but letting them have the chance to talk was so important. I remember I read an article when I first started teaching back in the 90s, and it was in the parade section of the newspaper, and I'll never forget what it said. They asked students what they valued about their teachers. And the one thing that consistently the students said was that when they had a teacher who just listened to them, it made all the difference. And I think that's what I want to take. It's important that we listen, not just to our students, but our teachers, our families, and the community to know how each one of these important stakeholders make up the school board and make up that rich fabric of the Hart School District. And so I would say that I would take that ability that I had to listen, sometimes getting off track, but that's okay, because sometimes a boardwalk can lead us to what it is that we have to focus upon. So I have another question. What is your position on when and under what circumstances Santa Clarita should lift school lockdowns due to COVID? This is such an important question, and especially at this time. I think that it's important that all students, teachers, staff members, anyone who is in a school building is safe and is healthy. I do not advocate opening a building if there is a risk at getting someone infected with the COVID virus or compromising anyone's safety or well-being. I think it's important that we trust science, not politics, not our feelings, but we ground everything in fact, that we listen to what our scientists are saying about the spread of this disease, and that we really make sure that we listen to those scientists rather than rumors. I think to that end, listening to our state and our local officials and having the briefings that we have with the Los Angeles County of Public Health, off of the state public health office, is very important. It could very well be that we may not be back in session until a vaccine has been developed and is in wide distribution. I think that we need to remember, as I've said earlier, that the school buildings are the only things that are closed. The learning takes place, the learning can continue. But again, we can't just throw our teachers out there and say, go do it. We need to give them support. We need to give them professional learning opportunities to help them with their structuring of their lessons. And so as we are starting to think about when we can reopen schools, I think it has to be something that is grounded in science and is grounded in keeping everyone safe. Do you think parents need a stronger voice on the board? I do think that what's important is that family members know their children best. And to that end, there does need to be a voice there at the table for families. However, just like with any other stakeholder who we are going to value in terms of providing equity of voice, we need to ensure that we truly have that. We can't allow one voice to eclipse another, because we must come together and we must make sure that we listen and that we bring together different ideas that will only enrich the school district. As I said, families do know their children best, and I think that it's very important to listen to families. But I also think we have to really think about what it is that the perspective that they are bringing in, and how can we temper that with what the state requires, what the county requires in terms of working to educate children and to make sure that we all come together to leverage those different ideas to ensure that we are providing the highest quality and the best education that we can have for children. Okay, I think we're at a place where I can take maybe one or two more questions because we're at the top of the hour at 8 o'clock. So if anyone else has a question that they might want to ask. As we're waiting for this, I want to tell you about a couple of things that happened just today that I'm very excited about. The first one is that the 21st District State Senator candidate who is running, Kip Mueller, has endorsed me for William S. Hart Union High School District Trustee Area 4 board member. We received his endorsement today, and you can see that endorsement on our page. And the other item that we have going on is we have We Heart Cakes, which is a donation drive that is being sponsored and in conjunction with Julie Sheldon, who is an incredible baker. And we have the opportunity to, if for those who donate $100 or more, the first 20 who donate $100 or more will get a free cake personally delivered to them by me or a representative of my campaign as a thank you for donating $100 or more to our campaign. Once the first 20 slots have been identified, then we will close that particular drive down. I can tell you we already have two donations that have come through, and so we have 18 more slots left. If you would like more information about where you can find this donation opportunity or to get more information about my campaign, I invite you to visit my website at www.webforheartboard.com. And I'm going to put that in the chat just in case you didn't have a chance to write that down. So again, webforheartboard.com. And I encourage you to go to the website and get the information. And again, reminder that we are on Facebook. We are also on Twitter. And we do have an Instagram account in which we post various ideas from the campaign. I will be at Central Park this Saturday, helping to distribute supplies for students of the Hart District, Saugus District, and Sulphur Springs districts, or the elementary districts in the area. So please, if you are able to come by, I would love to have the chance to introduce myself. And we are going to be working with other avenues to have drive-through meet and greets, much like what we saw this past weekend with Christy Smith. So I want to thank you for being on with me during Facebook Live. I have enjoyed receiving your questions. As always, if you have any questions that are follow-up or maybe didn't come to mind, I wanted to invite you to send me an email that you can get through the website for the Hart District. And again, I hope you have a wonderful start to the new year if you have children in the district. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.